it being 6 p.m. on May 7th, 2024, I'm going to call the meeting of the Rutland Conservation Commission to order. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast live and will be broadcasted again in the future on our various town websites, YouTubes, etc. So first order of business was accepting of meeting minutes of April 16th.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Any other comments, edits, or a second?
Second.
All those, any other discussion? Jared, you good?
I was not here.
You weren't even here, okay. All those in favor by roll call, I'll start with Tim at the end.
Tim Keenan, aye.
Williams and I.
Gentilucci abstain.
And Dan's a aye. All right, we did have one request from Mark to go first so he can get out to a game. So you're Pleasantdale, right?
Yes,
So I'll
thank you.
do notice of intent for a public hearing for 223 Pleasantdale Road. You wanna just give us an overview, Mark?
Yeah, so I don't know if you're grabbing up. This is a vacant lot for a single family house. The wetlands are across the rear of the lot. We've kept the house and septic as far forward as we can up towards the road. It's a single family house served by private well, private septic, private driveway. In this area of town, it's not an outstanding resource water, so we have the 50-foot offset between the wetlands and the septic system. And we've maintained a 15-foot buffer with the limit of work and erosion controls
I'm waiting for him to change his
to those wetland flags.
Sorry, I was waiting for Peter.
Oh, that's okay. Sorry, I got ahead of you. So this is Pleasantdale Road, right past Four Corners on your left, 223. And it's a single house lot. It used to be a agricultural hayfield, somewhat overgrown now, almost to the road. A lot of low brush with wetlands in the rear, and kind of over time that wetland line has migrated into the historic field area, so it is up pretty far, and that's about it. We tried to maintain 15 feet, or we did maintain 15 feet with a 50-foot buffer to the septic.
I think there was a site visit this past weekend, for those who might have went to the site. Did you see anything of note?
I checked the delineation line. Is Chuck Karen on?
Chuck couldn't make it, but I talked to him this afternoon just to go over a few things.
I had his wetland report.
Yeah, so if you go to the wetland report, the vegetation is a little bit scattered and mixed. It's a pretty good mix of goldenrod, fern, white pine, some apple trees, some ash. So it's a pretty good mix throughout that whole old historical field that's currently growing in. So for this, he really reverted to soils and did some soils. Basically, the line is based on soils. It's a thick loam from the old field, but there's really good color under it with the B series, and he's up around the 4 chroma.
Yep.
Outside of most of those flags.
That's what I found as well. I looked at the soils like down the whole line,
Yeah.
and they're just brown, like 0 to 20, because obviously they were tilled, so there's no horizons that formed. So
Yeah.
I saw hydric indicators on the wetland side, and then I looked at the soils on the upland side. I didn't see those indicators. And like you said, the vegetation was being weird because it's a disturbed site. It's changing and reverting, so you don't normally see solidago coming in next to sensitive fern. So
Yeah, it's quite
being a disturbed site, I had no issue with the delineation line. I just my issue was more with, having a realistic limit of work, because you're gonna need some construction space at the back, so if you need to go into that 15-foot for construction, could you leave a wider buffer on the other end of the site where you're not doing any work down there?
Yeah, certainly.
Or do you
Especially once you get beyond the septic system, there's plenty of room to
think
push
the
that
deck
out.
is just on piles that might not need as much?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
it's just gonna be on sonotube.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
but
you don't necessarily need a foundation excavator back there, but
yeah, if we could have, I think the comment from DEP was a limit of
limit
work
of work,
should be indicated, but
which we could condition as the erosion control line, it's easy enough.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is that I didn't see the erosion control detail, is that
It is.
silt fence wattle or?
Wattles, stapled wattles. With, staked and stapled wattles.
Okay. Should we normally have to have an erosion control inspection before they start work?
Usually, yeah.
Okay. That's all I had.
Yeah, I would say, my biggest point that I wanted to look at was these flags A4, kind of A3 to A5, cause those were the closest limit of work, but I didn't see any concerns with that wetland line. Just cause it didn't quite follow the topo on the plan, which was a little bit different, but I think the disturbance in the vegetation and mixed with the soils out there was, a lot clearer in person.
Yeah, I think that line is a little bit conservative as well.
Yeah. Okay. Any further questions from the commission?
I had a question that, I drove by this, I saw a 223A. Is it right next to that? Or am I in the wrong area?
There's a newer house right before it, coming from Four Corners.
Yeah.
And then
It's on the right.
It, coming from Four Corners, it's on your left.
Oh, on the left.
And there's a newer house, kinda in the same old field.
So I saw, it.
This is gonna be right next door, right past it. Right before you get to,
I did see that one too.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. I had the other one in my head, the other side of the road. So
Yeah,
that's my fault.
You might have seen some wetland flags from the state out there. They hung a bunch on the other side.
Okay.
And then generally speaking, the stormwater like runoff would be going back to the wetland or
Yeah, everything's going
away from the roadway, right?
Everything's going away from the road, yep.
Any other questions or comments from the commission? You good? Is there anyone from the public who'd like to speak on this application? I don't see anyone on Zoom either. We have a DEP number that just talked about the limit of work. Do we wanna talk about specials? I think boulder wall or something along that 15-foot has been our standard. Kind of along the whole length there.
Do you wanna add that deviation? If you approaches one side, picks up a different side of the other.
Yeah,
Add that into the
I think
condition.
it can be, if you want, yeah, or it can just be under, things change, they need to come back to us.
That might be easier.
Yeah, so if work has to go into the 15-foot, then let us know, come back. Not necessarily a formal amendment, but an update. Alright, so boulders or demarcation along the 15-foot. Anything else?
Is the whole, so under the septic shown here, is that gonna be, I'm assuming the whole site's gonna be cleared and turned into lawn area?
Yeah, at least where the house and septic is, there's room.
Yeah, and there's a well.
So they'll have like a side yard
Yeah,
type of deal?
We're just gonna clear where the well is in the septic in the house area. In between, I don't think gonna clear that area.
The more you can leave natural, the better, as far as we're
We
concerned.
like to mulch it like as soon as we can. And then we can put the controls there, so.
Okay, that's all I had.
Anything else, commission, public, in this application? Do you wanna close?
Make a motion to close?
Second.
All those in favor by roll call, start with Tim.
Keenan, aye.
Williamson, I.
Gentilucci, aye.
Philip, aye.
Danza, aye. Do we wanna do a motion to issue with the specials as discussed?
I'll make a motion.
And the boulders remain in perpetuity, et cetera.
I'll second.
All those in favor by roll call?
Keenan, aye.
Williamson, I.
Gentilucci, aye.
Philip, aye.
Danza, aye. Alright.
Thank you.
Good, you're welcome. Okay, so getting back to our normal agenda, thank you guys for bearing with us.
Good night, thanks,
Thank
Dave.
you, you're welcome.
Enjoy the ballgame.
Alright, RDA, request for determination of applicability, 213 Barre Paxton Road. So you guys? Okay. Alright, as I bring this up, you wanna give us an intro?
Yep.
You just want the existing conditions plan?
I did. It's all ready for summer.
It's about time, right?
I am not. I was looking like I needed a haircut. Einstein. Okay.
Yeah.
How's it going? So we got this piece of property off of Barre Paxton Road. And this is the line of the existing gravel area. And why I got involved was there's been a lot of wood chips and stumps and all sorts of brush just dumped into this area of wetlands. I flagged the wetlands all the way around, all the way up to this point here. And we're asking to be able to go, as the board at the site walk indicated, and get the wood chips and they're not stumps, they're logs, giant tree logs that were from somebody that haven't had a man that had a tree company or whatever, he's not there anymore. And he brought the logs and dumped them in this area. So we're asking to be able to go in there and carefully, right now, this time of year, we could easily, because it's all fresh, just scrape that out of here and let the wetland come back to its natural state. There was a lot of underbrush and roots and stuff that were there that probably will come back to life without too much trouble if we get on it, like right now. If we wait too long, it's gonna kill all that, and now we got a bigger problem. So that's the main, and at our site walk, there was some discussion about this slope here. This was done back when they built the highway, it appears, and this is a pretty steep slope. And there's some debris that's fallen over. So we're asking if the board says okay, and the owner says he's willing to do it, is to pretty much fortify this banking as it is with some riprap, so it doesn't keep breaking and falling in to this area. And it seems like it's can be easily done, because it's only maybe 6-7 feet high of a banking. And that's why we're here, and we're hoping to be able to get this rolling.
We did get some feedback from DEP. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to stop and restart only because it covers everything up. I don't know if they had reached out to you at all, but they provided some feedback to
I haven't
Tamika.
received anything.
Okay, let me show this. So this was an email from Rebecca Jumbo. Of course, it's not loading. Here we go. Basically stating that in a review of aerial photography, it appears that additional work has occurred on the property in the past few years. evaluate if the work has occurred and if previous permits or approvals, what activities may require approval by the commission and what may require enforcement actions. If there is a violation, then remedying through an enforcement order and an after the fact notice of intent. A note that if it's being used for commercial purposes, commercial projects, including parking lots and driveways, are subject to meeting the Massachusetts stormwater standards. And then talking about the additional resource areas in the front, since you're asking for boundary line to be confirmed.
Well, what we're trying to do is pretty much maintain what's there. And there is definitely, the wood chips and the logs were put into that wetland area. We're hoping to not have to go through any more process other than to clean up what was pushed into the wetlands and just go back to right where it's very defined on where that gravel driveway is, and they're not planning on doing anything beyond the edges of that, so.
So I think what she was getting to that I saw, so this is 2019 ortho from our town GIS. It's kind of all wooded. You see that there is a little bit of access, but then when you jump to some of the 2023 ones, you see it's a lot more cleared in the front, and that drive is a little bit more.
The canopy got open, so you're gonna see that.
Yeah.
So, and when we were at the sidewalk, it was pretty clear that that's been kind of disturbed there quite a long time. But the canopy is definitely gone now, there's no question about that, so.
I mean, we did make efforts to leave any of the mature trees that were not damaged. There was a couple right on the edge of that banking area that are, almost 2-3 feet in width, but most of what was on that flat surface was damaged and broken in small, type of weed trees that kind of overgrew themselves, like sumacs and so forth. So that is where the canopy opened, was to clear out those broken trees at the front there on that higher, drier area.
So physically seeing it, as this board walked, we could see that it is there. I mean, I had, not, just to make a point about their ortho pictures in that, Welch Ave on the ortho images shows up to be a river that the DCR made a 200-foot no-touch zone along Welch Ave. And I had to go through that process. I was going back some time with Jeff Lacy, and he said, well, you're in our zone, you can't do anything. I said, well, we need to do a sidewalk and come take a look. That Welch Ave is a road, not a river. And that opened a lot of questions on imaging versus physically going and seeing. So I feel that a sidewalk showed what's going on here, and we're just trying to maintain what's been there and not expand anything. We're just looking to clean up the unfortunate wood chip and log placement where it shouldn't have gone. And I believe we can do it very carefully, and through this process, in 2 weeks, we can have a site walk. And if it's not to your likings, well then let's go to the next step and to give them an opportunity to clean it up. It'll probably take them about 4 hours and it's done.
So are you still requesting the line to be verified, the wetland line?
We walked that.
Well, it doesn't show the whole wetland line.
Oh, 'cause I wasn't proposing on doing anything in this, we were just dealing with this part. So right here, the only thing that the toe of the slope is the actual wetlands, cause they filled it right up to it, but I didn't get any details on that. And I can provide that, but they'd like to get this rolling so that all the vegetation that's choking out right now, this is the best time of year for it to come back to life, and they can get this done within a week. And once it's done before your next meeting, if we'd like to just do a site walk and go look at it and keep it at this level instead of, because if we go, not that I'm looking to avoid a notice of intent, we all were there, we all know what we're doing here. It's just the timing, it'll be fall before they can go pull those chips out. It takes about 2 months to get a DEP number lately.
That other slope really didn't enter into the conversation till we were out there on the sidewalk.
Yeah,
This was.
And we have a baseline here of what's physically there, so if we go out there and they've done more than we can see, that the flags are there, the area we're working, we should be, and they got wood chips that we're gonna berm, is what we talked about, that's what this is. These chips, there's a lot of them, so we make a nice, strong berm right along this that will protect that. Instead of hay bales or wattles, that'll really give it a differential from the wetlands and the existing driveway. And if you want us to come back with more details on this banking here, not a problem, I can get you more on that. We were just thinking of just cleaning out the debris that fell down there, reaching over and putting some riprap on that slope that's there and not extend any further.
So you wanna deal with this as two separate?
I would say at this point, just so they can get that wood chip, it's a pretty good area that, right now, we can come back to life pretty quickly. If we wait too long, it's gonna all die out, and then they're gonna be buying plants, and they're gonna be doing this and doing that, and
Could you go back to the letter for a minute?
if they decide that they do want to, if you do want them to do something with this front.
I mean, the way I was reading that second paragraph, I kind of felt like, you know, it would allow, the way she responded, would allow them to do the work he's talking about and follow up, you know, under the enforcement order, to do the work that he's doing as an enforcement, under the enforcement order, but then we could still continue talking about the after the fact notice of intent. But at least,
Yeah, it's
that's how I
also-
read that.
it's also making sure it meets the permitting standards though.
Okay.
So I think what they also are making sure is that if it's gonna be a commercial use, it has to meet the stormwater standards, which is a bit more than just cleaning up wood chips. And in terms of the after the fact, I think it's the after the fact for the violation, not necessarily the work that they're proposing. Well, now that
But
it's
the
the work
use
they're
right now is
proposing, yeah.
what we're using it for now.
Yeah,
So,
but the
we're not changing.
My issue is that to get your use in there, you created an access that needed approval. So you cut some trees, etc., that needed an order of conditions to get into that was never given.
I just got into this
No,
at this
I know.
point, so, but it's not being proposed to be paved or anything, it's all gonna be it's all gravel surface, so impervious is not an issue. There's no further cutting of the area outside that circle, but
What is the future use? Is it just
yeah, it's just.
for
you
truck
got
storage or
the
mulch storage? or-
box, the storage boxes for, like you saw them that were there, I don't know, they gotta tell you that
The
part.
next boxes, the storage boxes would be the limited use for what we'd be able to use it for and, you know, loading
Parking.
those.
There's not too many, it's not that big of an area, it's not like it's
Yeah.
a giant, storage unit facility like a 68, we can fit maybe
Yeah.
3 or 4 of them. If you ever get to that point.
Rebecca from DEP, it seems like she's talking about the driveway and the parking areas, kind of going back to what you said, the two maps.
Yeah.
She's just going off of that. I mean, what we saw there has been there for a while, it seems like, fairly established.
Yeah, they don't necessarily tell you the time span between the aerials either.
Yeah.
Well, the twenty
What I
nineteen.
always say, I've said it a million times in this board, GIS, what's that mean? Get it surveyed. It's surveyed. That's a fact. I mean, I run into this all the time. Oh, well, the aerial shows this is a wooded area. Yeah, there's giant, the trees in there with 50-foot canopies. You cut one tree out and all of a sudden there's a field. You know? The tree was right on the edge of the driveway or the wind blew it over, so it looks different. So you can't base on,
It's too bad Mark had to leave because he and I looked for a river on a piece of property for hours and hours. And I can't tell you how many miles of walking that didn't exist.
Yeah, I've seen that too,
You know?
DCR Street.
Like, the biggest one right here in Rutland was that Welch Ave. That was like, they completely prohibited any use of probably 800 feet of that road. It's like, no, Jeff, it doesn't exist. Show me so I can locate it. Oh, boy, I guess it isn't.
That wasn't
So
that long ago
I
either.
surveyed it, we showed it, and then it was okay. So
Is it comment,
I feel it's a,
can we comment? The board members comment now, or?
Yeah.
You said that there was no access into the property before this owner?
When I
think there
purchased
was.
it, it had limited access. It had access in off 122, but there were some trees that had fallen kind of across the axis and were laying on the ground and in stages of falling.
So you just cleaned up the
hasn't been maintained in
existing
50
access?
years.
I remember going by it on the bus as a kid and it being kind of an open pocket of wooded area. I don't know if, I think it was overflow for what was formerly a auto sales across the street, what was Blazer Country back then.
I see.
That's what I remember when I was, very young. There was always a little pocket right there.
Okay. I kind of agree with both. I mean, Julian's right, it's early in the growing season now would be
In
ideally.
3 weeks, if it doesn't look right.
This would be
then
an
let's-
ideal
let's go
time,
to the
just
full-
let him pull the chips out. Could we do an after the fact
So
NOI without,
another way we could do this
Let him
is
do it.
forget the RDA and issue an enforcement order so that it's done to our satisfaction, but we're approving only the removal of the wood chips to this plan,
yeah. An enforcement order allows you to go in and do,
the work.
it authorizes you to clean out the wetland.
And then we'll require the notice of intent after the fact.
That's,
I'm just trying to think of a quick way that might satisfy everyone.
How does the enforcement order get resolved in the end? An inspection
Yeah,
cleared
lift
and then
it.
that gets lifted?
Yeah, once they,
and then it's tough to always say enforcement order because it's not always a harsh, I sometimes call it
punishment.
a friendly enforcement order
Yeah.
of, yes, this work needs to be done. It's a harsh term, but like it immediately authorizes them to do it.
yeah.
say, a friendly, get it done.
We would absolutely get it done.
And get it done and not talk about it, but do it.
I don't feel like we're going against DEP at all.
If anything, we're doing exactly what they tell
Yeah.
us to do.
I've done that before with, Judy Schmitz has actually said issue an enforcement order, so
Yep.
just in case they need to do the cleanup. It allows them to go in the resource area.
Allows you guys to go over there and inspect.
that way it
Wants
gives
you to
you-
come make sure it's to your liking.
So it gives you 30 days to do the work and then submittal of the notice of intent afterwards.
And would that put us back as just all set in that, within the confines of that delineated area?
For the wood chip thing, yes. And then if we have other issues, if you wanna do the front part, if there's work you wanna do in the front, then you can include that in the notice of intent.
Yeah, there still might be more.
Right.
Yeah,
Those concrete bricks,
And then, yeah,
Julian, like,
get rid of those concrete blocks.
so just like generally clean up
Yes,
Any-
clean up that site.
if it's not in that
And then
wood
that
chip
slope
area.
in the front, we'll come up with a way to armor it so that it doesn't keep breaking apart. And there's a couple big trees that eventually are gonna get blown over, and they're big, that are gonna take half that banking. So I will suggest to cut those couple right on that banking, right at the corner. Cause when it goes over, it's gonna take the whole banking,
Right,
so just avoid.
so you didn't have any intention on a wetland seed mix in there? Or you just wanted to naturally
Let's see what happens with it, if they
revegetate?
clean up, if it looks like we need seed, we'll put seed in.
The plan does note New England wetland seed
So
for
we
that
can,
area.
we can throw some,
Which-
just to
I
give
think
it
that's a good idea. Just get some growth going.
Yeah,
You're right, it's a good
that
time of
way-
year to do it too.
It's the right time, if you've got like 3 or 4 good weeks to get this to take off.
Tomorrow it's gonna get a lot of rain.
that's true.
So you
Alright.
good with that, Tamika? You good at issuing enforcement orders back there?
Yeah, so.
Friendly enforcement officer.
Friendly
Yeah, do I have to present my knuckles for?
Because she's friendly.
This is a friendly
So are
spanking.
you
That one comes with
okay
the smiley
with
face.
withdrawing the request for determination of applicability without prejudice? So it basically means we didn't make a vote,
Oh.
but in return, we'll issue the enforcement order that
So
will
you can get it
require the remediation of the wood chips, aka the removal per what Jillian submitted, and then the notice of intent afterwards.
Per the advice of my, absolutely, we
Okay.
just wanna make sure and hopefully that'll make it easier when we come back
I-
with the NO.
I think that'll satisfy DEP from that
So,
email, and I think that's a good path forward for us.
Thank you for your flexibility.
Thank you.
thank you.
Just watch your time frame. That's all.
We'll get it done.
You're not doing anything along that bank on the driveway coming
No,
in.
that's
Stay away
fine.
from
Leaving
that,
that alone until we come back.
that's all.
The submit, I don't care about the submittal of the
Yeah.
notice of intent, I don't care about when that happens. Alright, yeah, let's do a motion to issue the enforcement order, it's technically 213 Barre Paxton Road, as discussed. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor by roll call?
Keen and I,
Whimsy.
Jensen Luciak.
So why?
Dan's a aye. Alright, I'll help you with that.
Didn't think I'd ever say thank you for an enforcement. But thank you.
You know,
Thank you.
that's what we just should have done. Okay,
All right, we'll see you guys.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, good night.
We'll see you real soon.
That's good. Alright, next on the agenda was request for extension of an order of conditions, Wachusett Street / East County Road, lots 1 and 2. Looks like they asked for another 3-year extension, I think they've had one already, but they are actually in construction. So they will be completed. Any questions, comments on that one?
They're asking for a full 3 years even though they're already,
He didn't, I don't think the letter, I don't remember if the letter specifically
Is
gave a
it
time
up to
frame.
3 years?
Okay,
So we
Okay.
could do less if we wanted.
well, if they're already under construction, why drag it out longer?
The,
than-
the
Yeah.
letter says the home has been built on lot 1, portion of the common driveway has been completed, and then construction for lot 2 is scheduled to begin this summer. So it sounds like they've made some progress.
Sorry, someone just put in a chat that the meeting is muted.
'Cause that's already had an extension,
Correct.
so we're getting kinda close to,
Yep.
Yeah, so would a 2-year be safe,
Whatever we so desire.
just in case something goes wrong,
Sure.
which it usually does. There's a question also, Melissa, when you have them.
Yes.
Williams Overlook Road. Was there a third lot involved in this? Because with the special permit that the planning board did for the driveway, there were 3 lots involved.
You can hear it. Sorry, someone on Zoom can't hear it, but others can.
I can't hear you.
Don't blame ya.
it's possible it could be under a
believe it.
different order, because that area is kind of confusing. Sometimes it's listed as Wachusett Road or Wachusett Street, and sometimes it's East County Road. So it's possible there's a separate order of conditions for the lot you're talking about that could be under different ownership.
Well, I always question that lot 3 because it's so close to Muskapog Brook that it is in zone A.
I'm pretty
And,
sure we issued one. Is it for the one where the house is already built on it?
No,
No, okay, cause I know we did one for that lot.
There were 3 orders of conditions originally issued, Dick, as I recall.
I know there were 3, Ralph had 3 of them there for sale. And,
Yeah, I thought there were 3.
yeah,
I'm talking about 3 through here.
yeah, okay,
'Cause I remember the planning board going through that and then,
yeah.
and it hit us.
Then zone A's starting to come around quite a bit lately and at the time I was on the Ware River and they're trying to step up on the watershed. Anyways, I'll try to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, I was
That
just trying to see if I
other
could look.
Pardon?
That other lot wasn't the one I was concerned about, it's the other one that was up closer to the house, to the backside of the house,
Yeah,
that, the existing, cause when that foundation went in, groundwater was kinda high,
yes, it
as I
was.
recall.
And I can't remember who I spoke to, but the groundwater was coming right up in the driveway. And I had mentioned, or I think it was Peter, there was no silt fence, it was just washing down towards the brook.
Did you come with us on the original sidewalk?
I don't think so.
Cause that was the one Eric opened up the well, and I told him to put it back down, just leave it be.
Yeah, leave it be.
Gosh.
We don't wanna know.
No.
It came last time.
Alright, so we just decided 2 years for both? Was that the decision?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Alright. Is there a motion for both lots?
I'll make a motion, extend for 2 years.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor by roll call?
Keenan, I.
Williamson, I.
Chin Salucci, aye.
Don't lie.
Dan's eye. Alright. So those are set. Alright, public hearings, notice of intent for 255 Main Street Dunks. I believe we had a request to continue, Tamika?
Yes, please.
So they've asked to continue, we still don't have a DEP number. My understanding is that Quinn Engineering, they're having a meeting with the applicants and the town planner. And is there anyone else?
Nope, that's it.
To talk about some of the concerns, but it seemed like mostly related to traffic. So I don't think there's anything that we necessarily need to be inputting on at this point, but they're gonna have just kind of a discussion application meeting to go over a couple things before Quinn finishes their review.
I thought there was a question on the slope in the back there. Did you get that letter?
Well, DEP had
Oh, yeah.
put some stormwater comments.
The DEP comment, not, or the comments
Yeah.
about, cause there is a point source discharge, I think, to the back, right where, to
Yeah.
the wetlands, and,
And they did acknowledge that they still owe the additional fee that Becky pointed out, so they're
Okay.
gonna take care of that as well.
awesome. Beautiful.
Could we maybe request that whoever's representing them for their stormwater, Quinn, provide a written response to the DEP comments?
Yeah, I think that's gonna be part of their
That's going to
discussion
be
tomorrow.
Part of it, yeah, so Kevin Quinn indicated he was pausing his review until they had this workshop meeting because it was possible that changes were going to come from that and then it would have made it the point moot. So he said once they come to a consensus on that, he will continue his review of the stormwater report and everything else.
Okay, so he could put it on the plan if it's something DEP wants on the plan or provide an explanation at the next meeting.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if DEP didn't want it in writing.
Yeah, cause I think they're holding the DEP number until they get the additional information. So
Right.
some of
And
it.
the engineer is aware of that when I spoke to him today.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, so a lot of it's related to test pits, high groundwater, and some of their BMPs that they're using to make sure they meet their TSS removal, and other things like O&M, things like that. So we will hopefully have an update for the next meeting. So for that, I'll just ask for a motion to continue
Make a motion to continue.
To May 21st.
till May 21st.
Second.
All those in favor by roll call?
Keenan, I.
Williamson, I.
Chin Salucci, aye.
Don't lie.
Dan's eye. Alright, we are good. Alright, old and new business. Yep.
A question on that is, the wetlands in the back, you guys, they have been identified and marked as such. How close was it gonna be to the
I can bring it up.
new?
It's still pretty far, but there is a slope in the back. Let me bring it up.
So there is one thing I wanna, I need an answer. And that's, right away, it used to be for the two houses there, they used to use the back way to get in there off of Fairview. Is that in anybody's deed, and has anybody looked at it? To see if it is in there, and does it still exist?
It's the same owner, that first lot, that first house lot, Dick, and the Duncan property is the same owner.
It
One
was
of the
his
things I noticed
mother's-
when we were down there on the sidewalk was somebody was still using that.
Yeah.
Whether it's deeded or not, I can't tell you.
Just one of those things I think that the Board of Appeals should know. I'm hoping.
So it does, most of the work that's close to the wetlands is mostly grading. But, so this is kind of where the current drop off is now, so they would be extending. This is a wetland flag though, but then it jogs back out to the back here.
And
So
that's gonna be a grass slope.
Yeah. Should,
Where's is that point source?
Yeah, on the right side.
That riprap outlet?
Yeah, there's a flared in. Which, I know we continued it, so we need to talk about it a lot. I had a few stormwater comments. One of them was, I think they can pull that flared in
I would think so.
much closer to the site. That pipe has like a 4% slope on it. So I think if they could pull it up the slope away from the wetland and still have plenty of capacity for what's discharging from the infiltration system.
Yeah, why is it so far out?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they pushed it out that far. I don't think they need to.
Well, they're already doing that settling tank underneath there already, so you're not gonna get,
Well, you'd think they would just do it on the
Just
other
put it-
side of
just-
there,
Just put it there, yeah.
just have the riprap catch.
Yep.
Unless they need no, cause you can't use that for volume at all, cause that's the outlet.
No, you can't, no. Can't claim infiltration there either.
Dick, did you have any other questions?
Not at this time, no.
Okay. Is anyone else, commission, public? Otherwise, we'll talk about this on the 21st. When is CBA having their first hearing, do you know?
Tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah, tomorrow night.
Yeah.
You said that, my bad.
It's okay.
Okay. All right, on to old and new business, Conservation Commission staff support, discussion of staff support funding, etc. I believe Rita's here for that.
Not intentionally.
Okay.
Was there any communication sent? I know Austin had a family an emergency at home, a family emergency, so he was not able to be here.
Okay.
But I didn't find out until I was already en route here.
Nice.
So, yeah. So
Alright.
maybe if we can continue or add to a future agenda or something, because I don't have enough information to feel like
Sure.
I can present to.
Yeah, and just, was everyone here when we last discussed? I think so.
I wasn't
You
here
weren't
last
here,
time,
so at
no,
the
but I
last-
did,
You
I
was
did
at-
watch the
Okay.
meeting, so
It was
I
just
caught
kind
up.
of, where do we go from here? I think we have an understanding of we want an agent, how do we fund it? Where do we get it from? I did have someone from, and this is new to you, from Sterling, called me today, actually at work, because they wanted to know kind of what the not holdup was, but what kind of went down, and cause they've had trouble trying to hire their agent now that they're kind of going towards it alone. So there's still interest to have an IMA or something similar with Sterling. So that's still open, something to think about. I think it's just the funding and how to be sustainable in the future of where do we pull the money from. I think we were kind of like borderline on year one paying it out of WPA, but nothing further than that, because we just don't have the income to sustain it. So that's kind of where we've left off, but that's fine to continue.
Yeah, I'm not 100%, if I may, I don't wanna, I don't know for sure, I think the IMA is still good, I don't know that it's been officially, I think the posting has been withdrawn, but the board still had issued the IMA.
Okay.
Tamika, is that your
My
understanding?
understanding that Austin spoke with the town administrator of Sterling and withdrew it,
Okay.
verbally withdrew
Okay.
the IMA.
Okay, I wasn't sure how it all that piece actually
Yeah, that's the only
transpired.
part I know, though I don't know
Okay.
what followed that.
Yeah. So, is the commission, and I guess this is kind of for, like, consideration information, is the commission amenable to having a shared agent? I know originally, and I think the original train of thought, and I don't wanna speak for Austin, was that because the commission was kind of initially looking to do a, shared agent with Paxton, that it wouldn't be, that it made sense to continue to look for other shared opportunities. And Sterling was obviously the community that was also currently in need of an agent and that could kind of make that position more attractive to anyone looking for a position. It's really hard in Melissa, you could probably speak to it in conservation and Glenda, you as well, in conservation land, like to find very part-time agents. And so I think in trying to find ways to make that a sustainable position for the individual as well as for the town, I think that's where that kind of shared position with another community and adding in stormwater, because a lot of those more and more, as I'm sure you know, the more and more the conservation agent piece is picking up a lot of the stormwater rules and regs as well. So I think that in everybody's head that made sense, and maybe there just wasn't clear communication that was maybe disseminated all the way down to all the entire commission or whatever, so.
Yeah, I think there's still a willingness to share. I think we're just wanna make sure that we get the hours we need, I guess, cause like it was almost like a 4-way split. So it's just trying to figure out how that worked. I think we just needed more time to figure it out, but I think maybe for our next meeting.
From the commission's perspective, kind of from conservation agent hour allocation, hour number of hours allocated. Are you kind of looking for a minimum of 10 and ideally more depending on how the split goes, knowing I don't know. I think knowing sometimes the conservation piece might not be as busy as the stormwater and the stormwater may not be as busy as conservation. But you know, from the commission's perspective, kind of what's your minimum that you think would be?
I think we'd want the minimum of 10, cause that's what we had, you know, obviously understanding that there are give and takes. Did anyone else have any other thoughts?
I would say 10 minimum.
Minimum.
Yeah, based on our experience when Bree was here.
That wasn't even close to
She
enough.
indicated there were weeks where it could have been 15,
Yeah,
and that would have
or
been
more,
helpful.
yeah.
Or- yeah, so, but it ebbs and flows.
That's
I
kinda
mean,
why I
certainly
like
there's
the
times of the year that are
flexibility.
busier and times
Yeah.
that are less busy, so.
I think I'd be more comfortable having it the shared stormwater and Concom agent if the funding out of WPA wasn't a concern necessarily, just to make sure that those hours tracked cleanly for accounting. Because then I'd be like, oh yeah, some hours it might be 6, but other hours it could be 15, and it's not so bad.
So there's no money from any stormwater source of income that would that be contributing also to the agent's
Yeah,
salary?
so we would do a 4th, stormwater would be a 4th, and then if we did another town at least.
Stormwater's a quarter, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understood, I forgot about that aspect, okay.
The thing was, we voted against funding out of WPA originally because of the unsustainability. The income just does not, make the grade.
I don't think did we vote on that?
We did.
That could have been even before Austin was on as town administrator, because I think that I don't
That
know
was
for
after the
sh-
IMA was signed, I think.
It was, yeah.
Oh, okay, cause I was gonna say, I thought originally,
Maybe right before.
I thought there had been conversation previously, like last year when the override budget and everything was being discussed and adding an agent in and all of that, but I think that was before Austin was hired on. And I missed a couple, I was on Zoom for a bunch of your meetings, but I missed a couple or was pulled away and not totally listening to every piece of the conversation, sorry guys.
There you go. We're so riveting.
I'd really think that we could make it sustainable, because if it's gonna be a quarter,
We only get about $5,000 a year in WPA funds. If we had a bylaw, It'd be different, cause we could get additional
We have
funds.
local fees.
We could,
Just
but Peter made a good point that if we have a bylaw, can we use WPA funds for an agent to enforce bylaw requirements? I don't think we can,
Can't.
right? So we'd have to have a distinction between that two. But yes, with the bylaw, we could have local filing fees and inspection fees and
Yeah, and use that
things
for
like that.
salary.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, but
And I am speaking solely for myself. I have been pushing for since I became involved in town for a wetlands bylaw. And so I very personally, no other agenda or anything, personally feel like Rutland should be really moving towards that. We're a wet community. We have a lot of the available space now is wet. It might not be wetlands, but I think that we're doing ourselves and our community a disservice by not having that piece. And that's, like I said, solely my personal as a resident.
Is there anything that you think would be beneficial to either Austin or the select board in terms of, I guess, I don't know, assistance per se, but like what can we put together to aid in getting this put forward in one way or another?
Yeah. I think a piece of it's the funding piece, but I think also a piece of it is kind of the treatment of staff, to be completely and totally honest. I think, and this is, we see it with residents and we see it with boards and commissions and even select board. The treatment of staff, I think, is huge, and that we need to all have a working relationship of mutual respect. Disagreements are gonna happen, and that's totally fine and understandable, but we hire people to do a job, and I said it the other night, we hire professionals to do jobs, and we have to let them do the job and trust them. And kind of doing a cursory look at how other towns manage conservation agents, and Glenda and Melissa, I'm not sure how your communities, how your positions interact in your communities as far as structure and everything. But it seems like operationally most report to the TA that's the head of chief of staff, if it's an HR, if it's a manager, an administrator, or whatever that position is. And then kind of for policy enforcement and everything, it's Concom, that relationship with the commission. And just kind of trying to delineate those roles and responsibilities, and that enforcing kind of WPA and if we were ever to have a bylaw or whatever is that their main job, and having the support of the commission to do that work, I think is important. I don't wanna speak totally and solely for, that's the sense that I've gotten. And I don't know, Glenda and Melissa, if you have a chance to kind of just connect with Austin, or I'm happy to connect with you guys also to see what's worked in your experiences and professionally and what hasn't or whatever, to try to make it a sustainable position. I think a lot of these positions that we have hired for that have board and commission counterparts, it's growing pains and trying to learn how to work well and effectively together.
Right, when we hadn't, did we ever have an agent?
Not before
No.
Barre, no.
So Brianna was
Before
the
Bree,
first,
no,
she
first
was,
one.
she was
no,
like
if we had
She was the
major
first one,
questions
yeah.
on anything, we
the
used,
guinea pig.
Yeah.
we used 53G, and we used town engineer, Quinn. And we found that to work out fairly well, because Quinn was generally used by planning board, so there was a lot less time involved bringing them up to speed. They were already familiar with the projects.
Right, I mean, but we can still require,
Well, that way there,
Nice.
all the cost is transferred back to the applicant. The town absorbs no cost.
yeah. I see what you're saying. Charge the applicant for the peer review.
Which we could still
We still can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can do
for
that.
bigger
But-
projects,
but
We
but for the
adopted
small
that a long
stuff,
time ago.
but for other responsibilities an agent could take on, like periodic site visits, we
Yeah.
can't charge an applicant for that.
No,
unless it's a big project and it's like built in some weird way.
Yeah, right.
but the peer review,
Mhm.
we did charge them back
Right.
for monitoring a site.
You can,
So you've got
if it's in the order.
basically the same thing occurring And again, no charge, no cost to the town. That was the advantage with that, and that's what the state gave us that, opened that up to Concom's. It was open to planning boards long before us. But the state opened it up to Concom's because of the cost and because, you know, funding to a Concom, you know, you generally treat it as the redheaded stepchild anyway. So when it came to funding, you know, towns were less apt to allocate funds into Concom. So this was an attempt by the state, after hearing so much feedback at the MAC meetings and stuff like that, where we had raised our voices about it, that they opened it up to us. So this way here, you could basically accomplish everything that an agent does, basically, not 100%.
Not everything.
But at no cost, and it was legal to be able to bill that back to the applicant. And that's what we relied on. We did that with Bryce Lemon, we did it with a couple others.
I just was saying, like, we're obviously a volunteer board and we all have full-time jobs, so I feel like we need an agent to kind of be our glue, really honestly.
I agree. 100%.
Not against an agent, by any stretch.
It's,
But where does the money come from?
Yeah.
I think the
Yep, that's
taxpayers are gonna be a little
probably
less than pleased with what's coming at them. And if there's any way to mitigate, you know, the crunch that's coming, and it's coming.
what is the hourly rate on the job, do you know?
I think it was like
32?
something in the 30s.
Yeah, there's a range.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the residents also, we've heard a lot, if I may,
Yeah.
a lot over the past few years about where some of the houses have been built and how close it seems to being.
Because I can kind of see it on the flip side of what you're saying, of like the residents might also appreciate having someone to go to say, I have a question, you know, and they can go to the town hall and get their question answered, you know, and or it might not cost an arm and a leg to go through permitting if we have an agent, you know, that yes, it's paid for out of the budget, but is more cost effective overall than individually kind of not penalizing, but targeting unintentionally people with wetlands.
I think if I may also, I think in like the longer term in my brain, and it is maybe a longer term goal, is I think conservation you have a decent amount of open space deeded to you that currently hasn't had anything done on because you haven't had the capacity to even think about or consider what may be an option for it, or just even opening it up to the public or whatever. So I think having an agent that can maybe take some of those other pieces of the day-to-day business off of the commission's plate could then provide an opportunity to address some of the other things that over the years you've been fortunate enough to have, you know, deeded and everything, but just haven't had the capacity
To manage.
to manage. So I mean, that's maybe a longer term pie in the sky.
It'd be a lovely thought. Alright, so I think we have some things to think about, maybe for the next meeting, you know, start to think about other, I hate to say other possible funding sources, cause I don't really think there is any besides budget and WPA, but maybe some sort of,
Well,
I
and
don't know, alternative.
if I may, and I don't know, I don't wanna, but would the commission consider maybe a 1 year and then work towards, I know that there's some, and I hate to fund staff positions out of grant funding because it creates volatility there, right? But if we can spend some time to get grant funding to address something else and free up levy capacity to kind of take that over, or something, I don't know if the commission would be amenable to that.
I think we just needed to know what the actual numbers were, cause I think we threw some stuff around, you know, okay, a quarter could be 20 grand, but then whose benefits are they getting, what are those costs, and like, I think is if we have an understanding of what that 1 year will be, and it is only 1 year, I think it's a hit we probably could take if we're up for it. But with the certification, I guess that it wouldn't be WPA moving
Just remember
forward.
one thing, there's no such thing as a
know.
temporary tax.
I know, that's why I'm afraid. But yeah, okay,
Yeah,
so we'll think about that.
So sharing with Sterling is off the table?
I think it's still on.
Oh, it's still
I
on.
think
Sounds like
it's still
an
on.
option, yeah.
Yeah, so if it's something that we are interested in, then maybe the one thing you could communicate back to Austin would be to reach out to Sterling and say,
There's no time crunch on this because it's not dependent upon budget, so it's not,
and Sterling hasn't been able to hire anyone, so they're willing.
The one big downside I see with joining up with Sterling, to me, it's you kick in the benefit costs,
Yeah.
which, what's it, 30%, we said, something
Yeah.
like that. That's the only downside, but I think looking long-term, getting an agent in here and in Sterling would be to their benefit too. For both of us that would be here and be here longer term, it's gonna be a lot harder to find people to work as an agent part-time and get them to stay. I mean, we found Bree, and then she found a full-time position and she took it, and I don't blame her.
Yeah.
That will happen again, I think, if we go part-time. I was thinking about that a little bit more, how if we stuck with just a part-time
Yeah.
agent, it would be less cost to the town. But I think in the long run, we'd be going through this process
Again and
constantly.
again and again, yeah.
Yes, yes.
that's not the end of the world though. I mean, because you may get somebody that's semi-retired or retired looking to supplement.
You want some consistency if you can, though.
Yeah.
I think for a number of years, Rutland was a stepping stone community, right? We saw it in public safety especially. DPW has always been fairly stable, but public safety especially was a stepping stone. And there's, maybe it's a lesser hourly rate or dollar amount or salary hit, but that constant having to onboard and train people
There's a lot.
is a
There's a
lot.
definite
There's a cost to
involved.
that.
Right,
No
right.
question.
Absolutely is.
And so I think, the board had been very amenable to kind of looking at regionalization opportunities across the board because there is a shortage of municipal employees in the state, well qualified municipal employees, and also for the cost savings aspect of things, fewer and fewer people are looking for part-time positions, especially very part-time positions that require a high level of education and kind of ongoing certifications and everything like that. So, Joe, yeah, it's quite possible that we could find, someone semi-retired or something,
It'd be every year or
It
2
could,
years.
it could be,
right?
probably would be.
Probably.
So it's, I think in hopes of trying to keep as many avenues open and not having it be a massive dollar hit to the town, but provide some level of consistency, stability. Is that
Yeah.
balance, so.
Alright,
So I'll report, I'm sure
Yeah.
Austin will probably watch, but I'll report
he's
back also. and
willing to reach back
that's-
out to Sterling, does anyone have any against that? Reaching back up to Sterling?
No.
Back up, back out?
And the biggest consideration is the funding piece from
Yeah.
what I'm understanding from the commission and the long-term funding piece.
Long-term
That first year might be amenable to being some creative work, but then kind of the long-term
But I
sustainability
think
piece.
in fairness to Sterling, we have to be upfront with them and tell them that the only funding that might be guaranteed at this point is only 1 year. So that Sterling is aware of all of the circumstances, so that
Well, and I'm not sure how Sterling has their funding. I know they just had their town meeting last night, but I haven't looked
I
at
mean, if you're
how
gonna
their
partner with them,
funding.
you gotta,
Yeah.
Right,
you
yep.
gotta
I
be
think we just
upfront with
needed
them.
more info, yeah.
We'll be transparent with them, you
Yep.
know. We should be.
Alright, cool. Does anyone else have
Thank you all.
anything on
Yeah,
this?
thank you so much,
Leah.
that was very informative.
Alright, so we'll add this to the next time, we'll see what we get back from Sterling, whatnot, and then we'll go from there. Think of any creative funding solutions in the meantime.
I
Right?
don't remember, I know we talked about it 2 meetings ago when I was here. Do you happen to know, Melissa, what is our total WPA fund at right now? Do you happen to know?
Yeah.
It's
around 131.
Yeah,
Okay,
we have some
okay.
decent Rutland.
You got about, if you were to expend,
We have 127.
given the income, the projection would be out about 6 years.
Right,
And you're gonna be running out of money,
Yeah,
that's
we'd be out.
provided you
Yeah.
get somebody within the salary range that was originally talked about.
Mhm.
You know, and that's gonna be at the higher end, you're not gonna fill that position at the low end.
So we have 120.
And that assumes no raises or increase in benefits over that 6-year period.
Yeah.
You know, just straight line math, you're out of money in 6 years.
As of March, we had 127 in our account.
Okay.
In FY '23, we only brought in 4,200, FY '22, 6,100, and FY '21, just under 6,100. So we just don't have enough coming in to,
No, not on a yearly basis.
no, God, no.
It
But,
used to be a lot less back when
Yeah,
they did a subdevelopment, there was one NOI for a subdevelopment rather than per lot affected by wetlands. Because you might have 400 lots, but only
some of
20 of
that,
them would, close enough to the
already used for
wetlands to get them on.
say that again?
and some of that we already used for Tamika,
Right.
so like
Yep.
2,
Right.
That's why the 6 years,
3.
not 7.
4. I'm sure we used 4.
I did the math.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, I think we should, I would be amenable to considering it at least 1 year, maybe even up to 2, just based on what we do have available for funds. But yeah, long-term, obviously, the money runs out eventually and
runs
not,
out fast.
not
Well, I think
too far in the future.
You'll discover what becomes more amenable to our potential partner.
Mhm,
When you start that conversation, you
Right.
know, 1 year, 2 year,
right,
you know, then we can firm up a little better then.
yeah.
Thank you for the
Thank you.
conversation and everything, I appreciate it.
All right. Anything else on that? We good? Till the next May meeting? All right, number 2, erosion concerns, lot 3 Emerald Road. I think Jim is here. We had, I think one of the neighbors complained about some sedimentation running from the lot on Emerald. I know Tim went out, he provided some photos. I've been by, you also submitted a video to us which showed the stormwater kind of flowing along the road and not coming off the site. So I don't know if Tim, you had any specific comments. I know when I went by, having seen it in the past, it kind of looked the same to me, which is good.
Yeah, I went to,
Yeah, I don't know if
Yeah,
do you have any other
what I
comments?
saw was there's no real way to say it was from that particular lot,
Yeah.
you know, to be honest with you. There's a washout along the road, there's silt in the, you know,
The wetland.
where the flagged
yeah,
area.
there were no drain patterns whatsoever in front of lot 3. Like, there's just no way. That road is the culprit for
Well-
many things.
I agree.
That road's a problem in itself, as we know.
I don't know any of the past.
My pet peeve. I mean, honestly, looking at your photos, it looks exactly the same as what it looked a couple months ago, unfortunately, because it's filled, but not from this project. In my opinion, individually.
I don't think
That's
so.
scenic road, right, Dick?
But it's not a private road.
It's a
No,
public
it's a
road.
scenic
No,
road.
it's
Public
a public
scenic
scenic road, yeah.
It needs ditches,
It needs something.
needs some country
Yes.
drainage.
I actually asked to be on the agenda because I continue to get notices
Yep.
of complaints. And so what I was hoping to do is to demonstrate that that is not coming from my property.
Yes.
And I sent 2 videos, and one of them was definitely more definitive than the other.
Okay.
But it's coming from the road, and I'm glad to hear the conversation, because I was getting a sense that that wasn't the case, where all of these notices of complaints that I'm getting.
Yeah, I know I asked Tamika to at least send you the complaint so you were aware that we had been made aware. I think they called the state who notified us. So we all, what was that?
Yeah, DEP.
Thank you. So we all went out, I think, at least I saw what you saw, sounds like Glenda did.
Have you seen the video?
No.
I don't think they haven't seen the video.
No.
I just was looking at
I was trying to get it to
patterns,
load.
Yeah, one of them wouldn't
like
download.
rain wash patterns.
And when we get like those 2.5-inch storms, there's a 12-inch gully on both sides of the road that go down and wash in on both sides. Just wanted to make it clear that it's not coming from my property.
No, I appreciate you coming in. I at least don't have any concerns on this. I think you've addressed what they were / weren't.
You know,
I mean, they're just gonna keep with the complaints because like you moved onto a dirt road, like what do you expect it to do when it rains? Like,
Is the grass popping up over there yet?
it is, yeah,
Once
And
it's
it's-
established,
yeah.
you'll have a better
yeah.
chance.
Yeah.
It's coming in good now, actually. But, you know, maybe when the complaints come in, you could just tell them, you don't think it's
complaints,
coming
yeah.
from mine, you
The
know,
complaints-
might stop the complaints.
We have, I think that's why they probably went to DEP.
Okay,
So then they have told us, cause we
because we didn't do
we
anything,
didn't do.
because there was no enforcement action on Jim's part.
I agree.
I mean, there's enforcement action out there, but it's not because of the developer that's building a house.
It's just the dirt road. So I think you're good.
so thank you. And I don't wanna be a
You're
buzz-
pardoned.
I don't wanna be a buzzkill, but if I could, while I'm here,
Huh.
I'd like to just make note of one of the initial proceedings that took place. There was a public hearing, there was public comment, and the commission took a significant action in ordering a cease and desist order, which in my opinion was based on poor information. And all of that happening, and I was not, I had zero notice
Okay.
of any of that. And so I just would like to make note of an official protest of that, but also to encourage you, if there is something, please talk to me. I'll take care of it, whatever it is, I'll take care of it. But, you know, I just think that was wrong.
Thank you. I think for this, moving forward, I don't have any concerns or actions. Does anyone else on the board have anything?
And I'll follow up with DEP as well, Jim, to let,
Pardon me?
I'll follow up with DEP, Becky at DEP as well, to let her know that the complaint was addressed with the commission. They do not have any concerns or a need for further action, so that will close the loop, and she indicated she would then respond to the complainant, so.
Perfect.
And if we get any more in, we'll send them off to you. I would say unless there's any action needed, we'll forward them. You don't have to necessarily do anything with them unless we specifically request. How's that?
Okay, fair enough.
All right.
Great.
You're gonna, that's gonna bring in the fact that it's a town problem now, because there is a.
Yeah, but I mean,
Well,
the,
it becomes a DPW issue
Yeah,
now.
That's not new
If that lot
information
three's
to
not
them,
even-
though.
Okay.
I think it
Yeah.
has been for a while.
that lot three's not even in the buffer, is it? In the 100-foot?
No.
No.
I don't believe so,
It's like
no.
we can't even regulate something that's not in the 100-foot buffer. We have no jurisdiction.
If
I think originally it was the concern of
running
if it
into
was
the-
running into the
Yeah.
wetlands, but it's just that road.
but, yeah,
just-
I
it's
just
a
don't feel like
gravel
we
road.
have jurisdiction over that lot.
Well, the thing that raised the biggest flags when we went down there originally was the fact that there was so much fresh material in the wetlands. And that's what
Yeah, like-
raised our ire, if you will.
It was frozen, solid, but it was
Yeah.
fresh frozen solid.
Just to close a loop, one of the things that the complainant mentioned to DEP was that the commission had mentioned requiring Mr. Harity to do a restoration plan. And I had explained in my email to Becky that the commission had discussed that and decided there was really no way to determine whether the sediment had come from the site or from the roadway. So I was just kind of hoping I could get confirmation from the commission as to whether or not that's something you guys plan to proceed with, so we can close that loop, cause it's come up a few times in the complaints that have come in.
Dick has a question.
Just to let you know, I did talk to DCR Quabbin, to Alan, today, this morning, about that, and he says it was on the wrong side of the road. If it was on the other side, it wouldn't have been DEP, not DCR, rather, it's watershed. But being on that particular side, it fall under somebody else's jurisdiction, so. I'm glad he took time to take a look anyway.
Well, what we saw, Dick, was on both sides.
It was both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah, just more on the
There's more on
left
one side than the other, but it
and
was
not as
both
much on
sides.
the
That one
right.
has been out there though, and I know the commission addressed it at one of their meetings as well, cause he
He has
provided
been.
photos and an email, and
Yep.
I know you guys addressed that as well.
That's right, cause it was Alan, I think, first who said he couldn't determine where it was coming from.
Yes, exactly. So my hope was if we could close that loop tonight, if it continues to be brought up in the complaints, you know, I'd have a solid answer.
I just really,
So should we lift the enforcement order? Is that something that the commission has an appetite for? I think given the evidence that we've seen,
yes,
I think
I'm
so.
personally comfortable with that.
I think there's some erosion control issues out there that we need to address with other parties.
Right, not this party.
Correct. So yeah, I'd be willing to lift the enforcement order.
Is there a motion to such? I don't remember when that was
I'm
dated.
trying to give somebody else a
I know,
time.
it's fine.
I was waiting for Tim.
Well, I'm probably gonna abstain, I really don't know the history of this.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's probably
He is
good.
I will
abstain.
make the motion to lift the enforcement order for, was it just lot 3 or was it all
It was all
three
three
lots?
lots.
For all 3 lots on Emerald.
Second.
All those in favor by roll call?
Keenan abstain.
Williams and I.
Chancelucci, aye.
Oh, God.
Dan's aye. So you're double set.
I'm very happy to hear that. I really appreciate your understanding too.
And Jim, I'll send you something in writing, just so you have documentation of the action that was taken tonight, if anything
great.
else should come up, okay?
Thanks for your help.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, no problem.
Tamika?
I know.
Still up.
CC Allen also.
Oh, sure, yep.
Thank you.
Alright, number 3, Schultz Farm. Discussion of proposed work on the property at 163 Maple.
Here you go. I'm the guy.
Welcome, welcome Guy.
So what would you like to know?
What do you wanna do?
Well, there's 2 roads that have been in existence, I don't know how many years. I'm gonna say over 200 years. And we use them for access points to get to different fields and different sections of the farm. Well, on an ordinary year, we have no problem. But last year was a little bit abnormal. And we had washouts everywhere. I mean, bad, really bad. And so in light of this, the APR people came out with a grant for infrastructures. So I applied. But in order to apply, I've got to have some sort of documentation from you saying it's okay to fix these roads. One road,
You talking one straight over the hill?
yeah, one goes down over the hill, one goes out in the back.
Yep.
But they washed out something horrible. You can't even believe it. So that's why I'm here.
Not your entrance, it's not the entrance.
I can't,
It's not the entrance from the road?
That's Drury Lane, and that leads to the
No,
Muffin
Drury
Man.
Lane is a public road.
I thought,
Hey, I think that road that goes down over the hill,
Yeah.
that comes out on Hillside, you know.
Wait a
I think
minute.
that's the original road that used to get onto Worcester.
We can check the chapter 90.
Hang on. Is this chap,
Sorry, the whole map just spun
It
around.
may be a public road.
wait a
Could be.
minute. Is this chapter land? Are you in chapter?
Am I a chapter?
Yeah.
Chapter 61A?
Well,
APR.
the APR rights are sold, so yes and no.
Oh, it's an APR.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, you said that. So
I
isn't
believe it's
there
also in the chapter program too. You do your chapter every October, right?
I do.
We apply for that, yeah.
So I'm sorry, I don't
Under protest though.
know you, I don't know you anything about, I don't know you or anything about your farm, so you're,
Okay.
you're agricultural, 61A.
I am.
Okay. Isn't there an exemption, Melissa, for
Yeah.
work on an existing agricultural roads?
Yeah, what he's
under
looking
the
for is
ag
just something
exemption?
from us
Yeah, that's all I'm looking for.
to say that he's
I
not
know, but
destroying a
we would,
wetland by
I know,
doing
but I'm
what he's
saying we
doing.
would have to cite if there's an exemption
So it's existing paved
for normal
roads
maintenance.
or just
No, they're
like
not
dirt?
paved, they're
Okay.
gravel.
And you wanna make them into,
No, I wanna keep them the same way. But
Just
the
in
problem
terms
is
of-
they have,
okay,
you have to see it to believe it.
yeah,
I mean, there's ruts out there 2 feet deep. And let me put it this way, in order to repair them right, it's gonna take a lot of money. And which I don't have right now. And that's why I applied for the grant. And with this grant comes this letter from you guys.
Right, and we would have to cite an agricultural exemption
Yeah.
for work on existing roadways, which I'm sure there's something in the Wetland Protection Act that has that.
Either that or issue a permit of, you know, approving the work to happen, right?
Like an RDA.
Yeah, you could do an RDA.
If there wasn't an exemption that
Or you could do an
applies.
RDA to state that the exception applies.
That's true, yeah,
Right.
that too, yeah.
Right, it's not that hard.
When do you need the letter by?
There is no rush,
Okay,
because the way the APR works, trust me,
okay.
it's gonna take a long time to get this done, but I'm a very patient guy. Not true.
No, not true at all. No kidding. Do you have like a scope of work already for like what you would need for
This is.
the road?
Yes, I've had a contractor up there, he looked at it because I'm not able to
Yeah.
do that, I can't.
Yep.
Oh, did they have the farm
And
stand
he proposed,
on the main
in
road?
some places we had to put the underpinning back in,
Okay,
and some places we didn't. So what we intend to do is bring the road back, crown it, and put drainage on both sides, the way it has been for I don't know how many years. I really don't know. But that's the way it was, and that's why I'd like to have it back again, because right now it's crazy bad.
Could we
There's no
have,
suspension on tractors, you know.
right, could we have
That's the
site
best part.
permission to visit the property
Yeah, sure, I
and
don't
look
care.
at the roads?
I think a site visit would be good, yeah, just to know where they are in relation.
Because in relation to the resource
Yep,
areas,
yep.
yeah.
Well, we're on top of the hill, and everything goes down. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wise farmers are on top of the hill.
Well, the last time I was over those roads with you, they were fine, they were in good
They were
shape,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah,
That was
Where
way
is
before last year.
the last year was, I never wanna see another year like that, ever.
can we zoom out so I can
Oh,
figure
yes.
out where the heck we are?
well, I don't know, every time
you
I
have a-
touch it,
Glenda,
the whole
it's
map goes in
It's on Depot
circles.
Ave, right across from Kenwood Road. Like, I don't know, and there's a sign out.
You have
Kinda
a
near
farm stand out
Countryside?
front,
Yes. And it says,
I
there's a
do.
sign that says The Haven,
the Haven?
The Haven, yep, it's right near
there's a sign.
Countryside Estates.
You'll drive past it.
When
and
do you
you'll
wanna go over there now?
And I'm not kidding, it really says Drury Lane.
I don't know, whenever we can go.
When do you
You
wanna
got any
go?
restrictions, Dick,
Do I have
Saturday?
any restrictions?
time-wise?
No, I'm there all the time, most all the time.
Well, okay, I was gonna ask that question.
So, yeah, anytime. I get up at 3:30, so anytime after that, you're good to go.
Sounds like a plan.
Is it a, do you make, crow hay? Hay for horse or
I do.
cows? Hay fields?
Yes, unfortunately, for the last 2 years, it has not been a really good deal.
Too wet.
Too dry and then too wet. I have places I still can't go on my farm, can't do it. Four-wheel drive, no four-wheel drive, you're not going.
Yeah. I know I do a lot of work with Jim Dunn. He's on our ag committee.
Yeah.
So I learned a little bit about like hay, the agricultural stuff from him, but
But we do a lot. I grow, I don't know how many different types of vegetables, but a ton of them. And so we do that, and then we do the hay, and then we have a herd of Black Angus and Hereford cows.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
lovely. Do you wanna buy some land off on Wishapug Road?
Do I want to do that?
You're horrible.
263 Wishapug Road. Do you wanna buy it? It's an active hay farm and they're trying to put 5 houses on it.
No, I can't afford
We don't
the
want
thing.
houses in prime agricultural soils in Holden, so we're trying, we have right of first refusal, so.
Just transfer it over.
Just checking all my avenues.
If it was in any town other than Holden, I'd consider it.
Holden has some nice agricultural land, so
They do.
don't hold it
They do.
against Holden for being, they still have nice ag land.
They do.
And some really nice open space protection going on, so don't badmouth.
Feisty.
Paxton has quite a few too, you know.
I know Paxton's love
They've got some nice farmland.
We have to support our local farming community. It's extremely important to do so.
So you wanna do a site visit?
Yeah. I do, I'm excited.
Do you wanna do a Saturday?
I'm there.
This Saturday, the 11th, or, oh no, it's, when's town meeting start?
6 PM.
Oh, never
What?
mind.
Don't miss town meeting.
When's town meeting?
Saturday at 6 p.m.
Saturday at 6
Oh,
p.m.
it was
elementary
Saturday.
school.
How come you guys do it on a weekend? That's weird.
It's in the bylaw.
Why do you do it during the week? You're weird.
They do it on Mondays for some
No,
reason.
that's torture. All right,
Yes, it is.
we can do the 11th or the 18th.
Doesn't make any difference to me, you pick it.
Let's check the weather.
Weather.
It's gonna
I
rain
gotta
this
be
weekend.
there no matter what, so.
Yeah, he doesn't trust us not to walk away with a cow.
No, I don't blame him. Too many goats.
What?
All right, anyone good this weekend?
Yeah.
You wanna do this
Maybe
weekend?
this weekend.
Saturday 55.
It sounds pretty good. What time do we wanna do? What time is, I think we usually set ours at 10.
Usually do 10.
It says
But
shower.
is that okay for you?
It says showers early.
I can deal with a shower.
Cloudy.
It's not supposed to rain a lot on Saturday.
I didn't mean it like
Tomorrow.
that.
I keep my umbrella. in the
Anything
truck.
is too much, let me tell you.
Well, if we go and it's raining, we'll be able to see the
Exactly.
what the
We'll
roads
see
are doing in
low
the rain.
spots.
helpful.
Right.
You see, you gotta understand, I don't mind a half an inch of rain, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I don't even mind an inch. But when you get 5 inches out of whack
In 2 hours.
in 2 hours,
Causes problems.
that's it, that kinda
The
upsets
intensity
me,
and the duration, right?
drives me crazy.
Alright, so let's do Saturday. Do we wanna do 10?
Sure.
Is that okay for
The
you?
day's half over, I'm good.
Alright, cool. That's fine.
He's ready for his second nap.
I know, I don't blame you.
Hey, careful what you say there, boy.
Should we just meet you at the main
No,
building?
Joe's fresh,
I
isn't
beg
he?
your pardon?
Should we meet you at the main building?
Yeah.
Just like, okay.
Yeah.
Alright, well, kumbaya in the parking lot,
I'll post it.
10 a.m., perfect. Alright,
Okay,
we'll
See
get
you
it.
Saturday, Dick.
see you later.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Alright. I only half printed my agenda. Next, forest cutting plan, East Hill Road. Did I miss that on the SharePoint? I didn't see it under meeting materials, but is it under?
Yeah, I couldn't find that.
I apologize, I may have forgot to put it there, but if you
That's
go
okay.
back to the main one, it's under
Forest cutting?
the miscellaneous folder, and then there's a forest cutting plan folder within
Ah.
it.
Thank you. Oops.
And
Miscellaneous.
this was just for
When in doubt,
informational.
check the miscellaneous folder.
Yes.
It's
what I
almost
do.
like too easy, you know? Alright. Hold on, my computer.
Sorry, it scanned a little bit crooked.
No, it's already shaking. We're fine. It's been a long day, guys. Alright. Rutland and Oakham, East Hill Road, 146 acres. Mark Sadowski, did we already? I'm gonna scroll real quick, sorry guys. I feel like
Wait,
this is one we looked at. Is this just the signed one? I guess
I think
not.
it said the work was starting April
Yeah.
23rd or something. Somewhere around there.
Wait, is this, wait a minute.
Hold on, sorry,
Who's the
I'm scrolling
applicant?
everywhere.
The
Is this-
property owner is Mark Sadowski.
How do I know that name?
I know.
He's the fire chief in West Boylston. I don't know if that
Yeah,
means
but
anything
doesn't
to
he
you.
live on Main Street?
No, he
It's on East
he
Hill.
may have been before us because he has property on Finn Park Road. So
I
he
know
may
that
have been
name.
before us
The name sounds very familiar.
for that, yeah.
Alright, so it looks like, I think it's this, maybe not. That parcel doesn't look the same, but it's the only one on the border, so. I'm gonna say that's what it is. Yeah, I think it's this one.
Is this a legit forest management or is this pre-development?
I think this is legit forest management. I'm sorry, guys, I'm going everywhere. This is just a single family house that's on it.
So part of 61 then.
That might be why.
61B.
61B,
Forest management.
that's 61. B is recreation.
He's rec, that's correct, rec.
Alright, 200 cords of wood.
Who's Stephen Giletti?
Who's the forester?
Stephen Galat.
Okay.
Steve Galat.
He's the one that's doing Blair's
Yeah, Noble
Yeah,
Hill.
down on Pleasantdale.
Oh,
Pleasantdale.
that's pre-development.
And he's supposed to be doing with Noble Hill. He said he was gonna be cutting over there also.
So it says there's,
Do we have any concerns, like should we call, what's the foresters, the state
Jacob
forest?
Seidel.
Jacob Seidel, if we have any questions on this one?
It's in the Chicopee watershed.
Really? We have
Yes.
10 days to comment since we received it.
it's like,
Unfortunately, it came in April 16th. Which would, and it came in,
There's a perfect example of why we need an agent.
Add it to the list.
Okay.
so it
Is there a
looks,
specific concern on this?
looks
Is
like
there
they are
any,
clearing in some wetlands that
Lots of
had like,
wetlands on the property.
they can only clear 50% of the basal area.
yeah, they had 7 acres, less than 50% in wetlands.
So
3 and 1.
what if there's existing landing areas? The landing area?
So right here. But this doesn't really show the actual areas they're clearing.
That's the only map?
Yeah,
They should have submit on a USGS.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
That would be much more helpful.
unless I'm missing it, but. Yeah, it's just
There you
that.
go.
That's just the zoomed out version though.
Yeah, like,
Evidence that is.
do they have natural heritage checked? Potential certified vernal pools.
That they don't really have much of anything. That's this, yeah, this is the only plan.
So not enough information.
So maybe we ask Jacob for where they're actually clearing?
Yeah, it's not.
I don't see where this property is.
I'm having a really hard time, it doesn't line up.
No, it doesn't match. Doesn't match what's on Mass Map or
It's
at
too
least
bad the
the shape
mapping-
of the property.
The mapping on these forest cutting plans always is horrifying.
Yeah. It's very, there's a lot to be desired.
They need to rewrite the Forest Cutting Practices Act for one. Thing's ancient. It is, it's crazy. It's written in 1920 or something.
Like the line doesn't go that way. The town boundary,
The Ocam would be to the left, I would think.
yeah, but it's the town line goes this way,
Yeah, I know.
but on this map, it's going this way. Right?
Yeah, where did they get that USGS from?
Right?
Yeah, the map needs to be rotated. It's, if you looked at the lettering, it's not showing you true north.
Well, that's,
There was a north arrow,
yeah, it is.
yeah.
But they got Rutland sideways.
Well, that's just labeling.
Oh, that's just labeling, I think.
Yeah, okay, I have comments, because I don't know where this is.
We can always request a site
Yeah.
walk with the forester too, you know.
Yeah, that might be best.
Right,
It
so,
is odd, where's Long Pond? Because I thought, Mark's property abutted it.
I think, like, I wanna say this is where it's trying to show, but cause that's,
It seems like we're in the right spot, but
because,
the shape of the property doesn't line up.
Do they give you an address?
no, why would they?
There's a single family
Okay,
house there.
it does, it's this. It's all of this. So it's
Okay,
this
so
one,
there's a
this
secondary
one, and
piece.
this one.
Okay.
There's 3 lots. And then that's
45
what this little thing is.
East Hill Road?
It's still going the wrong direction, but,
I see, yep, we're in the right place,
so
okay,
it's these 3 lots.
yes.
It's up to you guys if you wanna
I mean,
request a site walk. I don't know if it'll be granted.
I would at least request a plan
Yeah,
that shows where they're,
where the clearing's happening?
Yeah, where's the stand boundaries?
there's none.
And the FCP said there was clearing happening in the wetlands?
7 acres.
Wow, that's a lot.
So I think they have to actually physically mark those trees with blue paint, right? The ones that are coming out.
Cause it has like stand areas, but it doesn't have like
Generally.
how much. Alright,
I don't get it.
Melissa, what would you like the plan to show?
It says
what they're
stand,
doing,
stand 1,
and then landing option 2. No cut, very nice, thank you. But everywhere else is go cut?
you see any other stand numbers?
No,
No,
I don't even, yeah, just that one. So like I think, like in my mind, they're clearing here, 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 here.
I think those are the wetlands.
These are definitely wetlands, but they talked about 1, 2, there's 3 acres in 1, 3 acres in 2, and 1 acre in 3. But then there are multiple tunes.
Oh, three
What does it
is,
say,
Oh,
FS?
3 is.
3 is an OCAN. That, yeah.
Yeah, FS is filter strip along the wetland, I think.
Does that say FS1, FS3?
I don't think FS is filter strip. Yeah. FS
Am I
is,
wrong?
Or stand 1?
yeah,
Maybe it's
Okay.
not. Maybe that means the stand,
A legend would be helpful too.
FS1.
well, yeah, they have the legend that doesn't, it says.
And it doesn't
doesn't
have all
match.
the abbreviations, what's on the plan.
Ah!
Yeah,
Okay,
That's frustrating.
alright, yeah, let's ask Jacob, can we have a better understanding of what they're doing?
Okay.
Where they're clearing? Okay,
Something on an aerial would be
Yeah.
much more helpful.
Right,
Yes.
totally.
right direction perhaps. Okay. Alright, put that one to bed. Until next time. Where's my agenda? 5, community fair, brochures for table at community fair on May 19th. I did not get anything drafted yet, yes.
Back to it, did you happen to ever have a forest cutting plan come in from the city of Worcester at all for over my neck of the woods?
For Worcester?
Not
City
I
of
don't remember
Worcester's
seeing
property, pardon?
I don't remember seeing anything from Worcester.
Cause I'm wondering how they're getting around the wetlands down there.
Probably the same way they did it down in Paxton. Next to the reservoir.
City of Worcester,
City of Worcester owns a good chunk of property down below me.
where, what's kind of the vicinity, like?
68.
Yeah,
How much are they taking?
Nothing recent.
I don't know, that's just why I'm asking, because somebody had asked me and I says, it's the first time, and then all of a sudden I'm starting to see a few trucks on 68 once in a while parking, and so I'm saying maybe they're in there marking.
They need a forest cutting plan.
Pardon?
There's forest cutting plans have to go through the state forester, just like anyone else's. Cause I've reviewed their forest cutting plans in Holden for the city.
Just recently, up on Bryant Road,
All the time. Yeah. I haven't seen one for Bryant.
not for Bryant, because that's the backside of the hill of what they're doing. So I'm wondering if they're hauling the logs up and over the hill.
Is it like 305 Bryant?
Urbanovich's old property on Bryant Road, yeah.
They're putting 5 house lots on it, selling it. No, 305 Bryant.
Okay.
God forbid they
Gave them
protect
a heart
anything.
attack.
They could have just sold the city of Worcester and been fine, but no. They have to develop
I'll
it.
do a little bit more digging and,
I looked quickly in our 2023 ones and didn't see anything either.
okay. Maybe they haven't got it quite ready yet, but
Maybe.
let's see.
I haven't seen any forest cutting plans come in.
The only ones I remember recently are Pleasantdale
Noble Hill.
and Noble Hill, yeah.
Alright,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks.
Alright, community fair, I signed us up.
I can, what kind of brochure are you doing?
I don't know,
I signed this up too, I put us on. Wait a second, there's existing Wetland Protection Act brochures that we.
Yeah, there's the MACC ones, like the Living with Wetlands.
We did those queer ones, but are you doing something different?
No. So,
Cause she said an activity, we don't have an activity.
okay, that was scary, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, when you fill out the
That's
questionnaire,
yeah, you have to have an activity.
you're like, would you prefer indoor or outdoor? And what activity will you be doing? And I was like, I will be present. I don't know. I don't know.
You might bring cornhole?
Get cups of dirt and worms and have
Amazing.
have kids like.
My brain is
The worm
done.
exists.
Amazing.
Oh yeah, the parents will love us. Here, have a cup of dirt.
My fridge is
Yeah,
filled with
little
dirt
plants, huh?
and worms and.
Fill it with
Put
water.
dirt, put
Oh.
dirt in it,
Okay.
grab a bottle of water, pour it in and say, now we just made a wetland.
Actually, put it in the ground, let it sit for about 10 years,
Yeah.
and then you'll be
Then
good.
maybe you have a well.
I figured, cause we,
You got anything on Munsell, Josh, or you could show
should I
me?
bring my Munsell?
Oh my God.
Like, would you like to know about chromas?
Yeah, so
I
you,
do have my Munsell
well,
book
what,
in the
it-
office.
I
We
think
can bring my
that
dirty
would-
one.
What
that would
about
be a
some
good
plant books?
explanation, because something that is always confusing to most lay people
Yeah, is what
is
is a wetland.
wetlands. They see water, they assume it's a wetland, all right? And if that was the case, you couldn't park your car in your driveway,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So something that would explain the definitive
what
way
is a wetland?
of how the wetland is
Mm-hmm,
determined.
I like it.
The plants are one thing, but if you want
Yeah,
concrete,
Hydric
then
soils.
you dig in soil. And if there
Melissa-
was something that showed, this is, the spiral,
yeah,
run your little auger in, pull it out, and this is how it's done.
I could steal my.
I think Joe should be the presenter for that. I think.
Yeah, Joe.
Give Joe
Joe's not
a
good at
bucket of dirt.
presentations, trust me.
All right, I'll bring my auger.
auger, okay. So I
Linda,
both
You can bring a Munsell, I can bring a Munsell.
Concom and open space, so in open space, we didn't have a meeting because we didn't have quorum, but we talked about, I dictated about printing an open space map, so we'll have some of those and where our open space properties are. So I signed both committees up as kind of like we could have 2 tables, but they kind of go together. So we can be like, what is Concom, what is wetlands? And then, part of it we're using as, here's our open space and rec plan that's coming, please look at it. Please be aware that it's coming. And then, but yeah, I think you make a good point of
Just
what
some-
is wetlands.
General wetland info.
Yeah,
The other thing, I don't know if the state has anything about invasive species with the lantern moth and
That's a good
some of the
one.
trees and stuff, like the tree of heaven or whatever they call it. If there's even just flyers or like a QR code or something.
Japanese knotweed.
just got a bunch
Yeah.
of flyers
Yeah,
from
we have
MDR
invasive stuff.
for spotted lanternfly and stuff. I
Oh
can
my
bring those.
gosh, like, don't they send you so much stuff you don't know what to do with?
It's amazing.
You're just like buried with
I
ALB
mean, I
cards, you're
hate
like.
to have like flyers and waste like use
Yeah.
all the paper, but even if it's like a QR code that links, I don't
Yeah.
know if
Yeah,
on the Concom page or open space or something that even it's like an invasive species resource page on the website that then could be like QR'd and it could be all the links to I don't know, know, but have a, you know, a picture or something about like,
What time is the community fair?
11 to 3.
Thank you.
I haven't seen anything of them reaching out to like place. Is that,
I have no comment.
okay, cool. Okay, understood. But not really, but it's okay. So it's just fly by night, okay.
Just be there.
Yeah, just be there. Where is it? Here?
11 to-
Community center at.
The community center.
Glenwood Road.
Oh, so I really gotta show up there, okay.
Oh, is that the down
Yeah,
Glenwood?
Yes,
Yeah.
they use it as the senior center.
right, okay. So, be there, be square.
Yeah.
I'll try and send out some stuff that I plan on printing and bringing.
Can we take shifts?
If you
Yeah.
need any help
So we don't have to be there
with,
for like
creating,
11 to 3?
Yeah,
like a
that's
flyer
fair.
that you can
Like I could do 11 to
QR
1 and
codes
someone else.
stuff,
I can do 1 to 3.
Do 1 to 3.
Like how to just
I
make
can't do the
something
first half, but I can do the
you
second
Stick in like a plastic.
Okay.
Okay.
Stand-up thing. I'm happy to help with
teamwork
that.
makes the dream work.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we used to do at the
Should I bring my own pop-up
4
tent,
hours on a
like,
the
Sunday?
Lester Common,
Yeah,
yeah.
I would not anticipate there would be one provided.
do I have to bring my own
I
tables?
gotta take my dog to the ground.
No, you do not have to bring your own table. You do have to bring your own bug spray.
Needs a haircut.
Very specific, okay?
Wait, just can we go over what we need to bring again? Some flyers,
Muscle book?
Some
invasive,
Some water,
invasive species.
some recycled paper,
An auger.
an auger,
stuff.
stuff. I'll print some maps.
I'll bring some wetland flyers.
How many
Do that at the
certified
office.
vernal
Okay,
pools
sounds
do you
good.
have?
Including full size.
How many
Many.
vernal pools?
That's another one for
I
open
think we're up to
space.
5 or 6
is-
now, then.
Yeah,
Vernal
I'm gonna
pools.
have Brian do his little like big
Because
night page.
do you know where number 1 is?
Where?
Your daughter was or I think it was your daughter or your kids that were playing at Worms,
Really?
right there.
I didn't know that.
Lilac hedge, right there, right behind the
Yeah, right up.
farm.
Then there's the other famous one that's under the bridge. Yeah, we have a vernal pool underneath the bridge.
Makes sense.
Auger
The
flyers,
2 newest ones were the ones down on
Munsell.
Maple.
Oh, really?
Yeah, right down where Jim Susi built those houses down in the back.
Yeah?
Just to the left of them, there's 2 vernal pools in there. Those were the newest ones. Yeah, I went down there with Mary Ann DePinto to check them out.
Name just evoked
Nice.
something in me.
Good. Some of it gone.
But she wouldn't answer me on the other one under the bridge though.
I'll call you if I think of anything.
Anywho, yeah.
Yeah, if there's anything else, if anyone wants to be there, come for all, come for none, come for some.
Can we bring like coffee and donuts and stuff too?
Yes. Snacks are
Accepted.
Permissible?
Encouraged.
Encouraged?
yes. Thank you.
Wait, so are we gonna be
There are gonna be food
outside
trucks at this thing.
or inside?
It depends on what you signed up for.
Do we want inside or outside?
I said I didn't care. I said I didn't
So be
care.
surprised that day.
So I'll bring a
We'll have
pop-up
like a
tent.
display
I have a
table and
10 by
stuff, right?
10
You
tent.
get a table.
I do as well.
So worst case scenario, we'll
If we
be
need it,
covered.
Yeah.
We get a
We
table
have pop-up tents.
and pop-up tents.
Sit on the ground. I really don't care.
I want outside then.
I've got chairs.
No one
I'll
wants to
bring
be
chairs.
inside
Yeah,
on Sunday for
chair.
4 hours, it's silly.
That's a good point, actually. Unless it's raining, then. that would
Yeah,
be
unless
so
it's
fun,
crappy
but-
out, right?
Yeah. I have a 10 by 10 canopy too.
Okay,
I
so
can
worst
always bring
case scenario, we
Everyone
are
show up.
paid.
We'll be okay.
Are we hungover?
Alright. Okay, yeah, show up if you want. I'll be there.
Melissa's the woman,
Thank
she's
you
gonna be
Thank
all
you.
the OSRP.
It might be only us, but it's okay. It's fine.
Good
It's
time.
okay.
If
I'm
you
gonna
hear a
wear-
horn, all right,
Do I run?
just
Do
look,
I?
just look,
Is it you
just look,
driving
you'll see
by?
me.
Ah,
Oh.
but if I run fast enough, can I jump in the back and you take me away?
I'll slow down.
Thank you. I don't run fast.
I'm gonna
Alright.
wear my t-shirt with the big lizard on the front.
Should we have matching t-shirts?
You know, those with the big spotted salamander on the front, that t-shirt, it's like gray, it's so nasty.
Should I bring the
I know somebody would really appreciate that.
the vernal, I have about 8 yellow clipboards for the Vernal Pool Association.
Those two, yeah.
Oh
We
my
should rep,
god.
we should rep it out.
Yeah, I need to ask you about that group in Southborough, those vernal pool,
Oh, Freddie Gillespie?
that group I saw on Facebook. Yeah.
Alright.
interesting story there.
Oh god, I don't even wanna know. Alright, anything else for community fair? Okay, I'm going to pass on process and procedures in Wetlands bylaw. I haven't seen anything new. Peter's in the back. Any objections? Okay. Are there
No,
any-
I wanna talk about it.
Well, that's too bad.
You've been outvoted.
Is there any other public comment? Got anything?
Yes.
Yes.
A piece of property up off of Central Tree, the old hospital site.
Wait, the sanatorium,
Yes, of course.
the hiking area?
Hiking with Mount Hope, or Hope Trail, or I think it was that we put there a long time ago. Ever plan on doing anything about, maybe doing some logging up there? Fixing the, you know, like maybe burying that tunnel that's been there open for so many years that the kids go under in the ground in? I'm just thinking, you know, there's a kiosk that I went and I gave to the town that's up there. And it's, everything's growing around it.
Yeah.
And it's too bad because I think that is the most perfect area that you could ever set up a nice recreation field or something, so you can make yourself a buck or two or up there. It costs money.
We
Trade the, you know, cutting the trees down for having them, you know, pay
We
for a
had tried
bulldozer.
to get some improvements up there by allowing Rutland Youth Soccer to use some of the
Yeah.
property. And they were gonna do all of that work for us, gratis.
Yeah,
And that got shot down. And one of the selectmen definitely was less than supportive of it and rallied that whole neighborhood up so that it became a soccer complex rather than a couple of fields. And
Well,
people got upset, you know,
being
I
a
mean,
piece of Concom property, you can't have houses on it.
no,
Everything has to
No
be on a
permanent
trailer,
structures.
whatever.
I know, but
Lights
like-
on trailers and.
there's no
and I was
access.
told at the time that kids playing soccer on the field, all right, would rip up the field. But one of the permitted uses of that field, I can take my horses up there and ride them anytime I want. All right, and you tell me who's gonna damage the field.
Yes.
Yeah, but do we wanna keep it as open space for like passive recreation? Like,
Well, that's what we were looking to do.
isn't there a CR on it that has, lists the rules for the property?
I think it's just Concom. I don't know if that one has a CR.
There's no
CPA
CR
if
on it.
if I may, if CPA passes and the funds are, once the funds start coming in via CPA, they could be allocated if town meeting is amenable to it, to some of the maintenance or use of the existing open space. Not building structures or anything, but like trails or
Yeah.
outdoor opportunities.
Have you been up there through there at all lately?
Let's put it, last time I was up there, I took David George, town planner,
Okay.
and I showed him the tunnel and he says, looks like the kids have been in here playing. I says, yeah. I said,
Where is the tunnel? 'Cause I hike that all the time, I live right,
Thing that
right
killed
next
me
door.
was all the glass,
Pardon?
all the broken glass
Oh, yeah.
and all the trash getting dumped in there. You
Before
know,
the trees even
leaves
grew,
and
when I was
grass
on
and all that,
Concom,
and
we had to stop all the work up there because all of a sudden needles were poking up all over the place.
yeah.
Had to stop
What
and-
about, who did after the ice storm, who cleared all the trees out of the paved
Steve?
pathway?
The same one you were just talking about on East Hill, Stevie Glott, he's the one that did the work over there and I was just looking through a town report back in the it was 80s, 70s or 80s, you had a fellow from Barre that did a lot of tree work up there. Matter of fact, $2,100 at the time is what the town got for selling the trees that were harvested up there.
'Cause I mean, my God, after that ice storm, it was horrifying.
Oh, yeah.
I was just like climbing over trees, trying to get down the trail.
It is too bad.
And then you went out there, it's like,
because
oh,
a
somebody cleared
beautiful
it.
Place up there. And it would be nice, and I also had that memo back in the 70s that Mr. Blair, and I'm not talking about Clee now, it was his father, was supposed to have gone back in there with a bulldozer and have taken care of all the stuff that was left up. You know, there's a lot of stairs and things like that was supposed to be buried underground and whatever. So, but it was never done. And it's too bad, and yeah, I feel that it's something that a good value to the town that could bring some money in somehow.
Do we have a property boundary on the, Melissa? Can you pull that up, that site up? Or are you too tired?
No, that's, I zoned, I'm
She doesn't look very
sorry.
thrilled about it.
No, I was
Kinda
trying to
I
comprehend
don't-
what you were saying.
You don't have to, I'm just,
No,
I was
it's
looking
fine.
at Jared's,
I was wondering the same thing.
Jared, if you go to,
GPS in Rutland,
like what, 38, what's a good address?
62 Central Tree Road.
62 Central Tree, like she said,
Got it, thanks.
what she said.
What she said.
I just wondered, I didn't know you owned part of the field too.
the field is the town, not Concom.
So where's the end of the cul-de-sac?
It's
There's actually two cul-de-sacs.
What's the name of that road? Skyline, Sky,
Skyline.
Sky something,
Yeah, that goes up, and that's where that
Skyline
kiosk
Drive,
is.
Skyline.
Drive, yeah.
drive, and then you go to the end of that.
You just go right up to the end of it to the circle and there's a gate that you can,
So yeah, that's where I park here and I walk down the trail.
Where the little cul-de-sac is,
I go down to, well, I jog up there, yeah.
where that cul-de-sac was, you walk in there, I'm gonna say maybe 150 feet. To the left is where that tunnel was, that went under the road. Went from one building to
I
another.
never saw any tunnel when
Yeah.
I was out there. Just a
I
lot of,
thought there were two, but it's been such a long time ago that I always thought up closer to the other road. way
there's a
up.
lot of ticks out there, I noticed. Very ticky site.
Right, so maybe we have, maybe not the next agenda, but in upcoming, just talking about our open space properties. I think now that I've put a good list together for our open space and rec plan, might be a good jumping off point from there. To at least start to identify what we have care and control over and move forward.
And the one reason why I'd like to see that happen up there, I mean, the logging and all that, is to open up because when I was small, and I remember going up there for a sunrise service and looking out and seeing Boston. And that to me was so awesome.
That is a
Now we know.
crazy view,
Yeah.
once you get up there on that hill.
Yes, yeah, where the trail was taken up. Unfortunately, I don't think I can make it up there anymore, not with my legs.
I can't make it up there anymore.
It's up pretty high.
It's a climb.
the best one though, Dick, is the water that you could see off of Noble Hill.
Yes.
I remember that,
My God.
it wasn't water,
Oh. Alright,
it was
Anywho.
windshields.
is there anything else?
Windshield at no camp at the junkyard.
Anything else for tonight? Alright, it being 7:59, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor by roll call?
Keenan, I.
Williams, aye.
Gentilucci, aye.
Talk lie.
Dan's aye, we are adjourned.
Thank you for everything.